Hey guys, D1sco here. Today I'm reacting to the Dead by Daylight developer update for March 2025. I know I'm a little bit late to this. I guess they re-uploaded it, reposted it, or some, or I don't know if that's the right word, but I saw a thing by them, like a community posted theirs on YouTube earlier that said something about they like re-uploaded or something because there was like a mistake or something. I don't really remember. Um, update. Oh yeah, this is where it is. Yeah, so this is the edited update version because those update the good guide changes in Dev Note to clarify that the quicker acceleration will also apply to the start of the slice and dice. Was the 8.6.0 update quickly approaching? It's too. We decided once again to give you a look at the notable gameplay changes you can expect from the public test build next week. Oh, it's next week. Okay. Read on for all the details. To be fair, on YouTube, it was kind of acting like it was already here, but I guess it's next week. Okay. Status effect updates. Oh, they updated mending again. Decreased self mending time to 10 seconds was 12. Decreased altruistic mending time to 6 seconds was 8. We know that deep wound can be a frustrating mechanic to come up against as it slows down the pace of the game. For survivors, by reducing mending times, we hope to reduce this friction slightly. We want players to let the urgency of triggering the status effect, but once they make the choice to act, we don't want them to feel pulled away from the game for too long. Honestly, that's kind of nice because that one kind of nerfs Legion because, but also other stuff. That's actually really nice because it means that survivors can act like kind of deal with mending quicker and stuff. And I definitely like this against Legion. I've had gay matches in the past against a Legion player where you don't really get to play the game very much. Because the Legion player keeps deep wounding everybody, so you spend the whole game like trying to mend so you don't fall onto the floor, and then the game just goes on forever until um either Legion starts like getting hooks or until someone finally finishes a gen, and it's not fun to have matches like that because it just takes forever and you're kind of just stuck there. But even outside of Legion, I just think that's a nice change against Deep Wound. Should make the game a little bit should really help. I mean, I didn't really feel like it was intolerable, but that'll make it more so like a little bit quicker to deal with, so that's good. Speaking of which, Legion got some updates, I guess. Decreased fatigue time to 2.5 seconds was free, so you won't be fatigued quite as long. That's actually pretty nice. Um, I've played Legion a little bit during 2v8. Orange played Legion a lot more than I did, but we still played Legion, a little bit. And again, the 3 seconds wasn't bad, but it was just like you notice it if it like, especially for me because I'm terrible at like my biggest problem is it's very very easy for me to lose survivors in like certain situations. Like I can um chase survivors and stuff. The problem is sometimes they'll do a survivor will do something and either A, I'm just not fully like paying attention to that situation, it would be like but I can still lose them. So I think that's nice. So that way, a player like me who has that issue, you're not fatigued quite as long. So that way you can hopefully. I just think that's a good change overall for everybody. That it's that's a nice change, but he got a but there's a lot more. But that one already is very nice. Increased fatigue moose speed, the 2.3 meters a second was 2.07. That's also really nice. I get that when you're fatigued, you're supposed to be slower. I get that. But it's nice that you're a little bit faster while you're fatigued than you were before. That's actually really nice. Feral Frenzy lasts for 11 seconds, plus 10. That's also really nice. There's situations where it just runs out on you, unfortunately, like when you're trying to do stuff. So that's nice. And now it's you got an extra second. An extra second might not sound like a lot, but it can be. That's really nice. Feral Frenzy cooldown is now 15 seconds with 20. Again, another very nice, very good change. Movement speed earned by a hit during Feral Frenzy is now 0.24 was 0.20. That's good too. You're a little bit faster now there too. Adjusted several items. That's fine. To account for reduced mending time, we've adjusted Legion's kit to ease the downtime between power uses by extending Feral Frenzy and adjusting its cooldown and movement bonus. The goal is to provide Legion with a slight buff to their ramp up. It doesn't even sound like proper English, but whatever. As they weaken survivors, giving them more opportunities to lean on their mobility. Then, with the adjustments to fatigue, you'll be able to get back in the chases quicker after Feral Frenzy ends to better close the deal. These changes will make Legion feel like more of an active and mobile threat, reducing their reliance on the more passive status effect. That's actually a nice idea because Legion right now, because this still has isn't a live game or PTB or anything, very much reliant on that status effect um on deep wound and like mending and all that. But now because of the changes to mending, it makes sense that the killer that really relies on that would get at least some updates. And I like how they're trying to kind of get Legion away from that. I mean, obviously they um can't fully, and that's fine. I get that, but it's nice that they're kind of pushing him in a direction that I kind of find myself using Legion. Just because me and Orange really struggle with the whole like you hit everybody and then you down somebody. It's just difficult for us. Just because like I don't know. I just always use Legion's like ability for like just mobility, moving around the map quicker than Deep Wound because I suck at it. Oh hey, it's been a while since I last tried to play you, the Xenomorph. Part of why I don't play Xenomorph is just no real reason. Like the tunnels are nice and all, like very fun toolkit, but because of my issues with Killer, I kind of just don't play them ever. Although if Xenomorph ever comes to 2v8 and me and Orange are still playing, I would actually try to play him because I do like Xenomorph in the game. So increase tail attack charge time to 0.35 seconds was 0.2. So it takes a little bit longer, I guess, From what little the developer note I just saw, yeah, that's fair. Increased tail attack charge sound volume for survivors. To be fair, it wasn't very loud to begin with. It's just kind of a wah sound, but it's not super loud. Like if you're the one being chased, yeah, you hear that tail attack, but that's kind of well, but but that's kind of it. Like, there's not, I don't know, there's just not much you can do there, which I guess is fair because it just makes sense. Um, Reduced miss attack cooldown time to 2.5 seconds was free. Reduced miss, I just read that. Increased the killer instinct range when exiting a tunnel to 16 meters was 12 meters. Decrease the time it takes to get out of a tunnel to 1.5 seconds was 2.25. Increased amount of fire need to burn the xenomorph out of crawler mode to 175 with 100. I guess that one's fair because I feel like xenomorph players basically never really got to do it get to use crawler mode much because if you show up to a survivor, they most likely have one by them, and like I just feel like it was really easy to like knock them out of the power. Though it was nice as the survivor, obviously, but that's fair. Increased delay before the xenomorph's heat starts to dissipate to 15 seconds was 1 second. I still don't fully remember what the whole heat dissipating thing even like did or means. I get that it's I get that's related to the like turret, but I can never remember exactly how that all works. But that's nice. Um, Decreases xenomorph's heat dissipation rate to 2 seconds. What's to to a second? I guess was 25. I don't really understand that wording. Adjusted several add-ons to align with these changes. In the current state, Xenomorph's tail attack tends to be a little too difficult to dodge, with a short window between wind-up and attack. To give survivors more of a chance to anticipate and react to it, we've adjusted its charge time and mode the wind-up and made the wind-up louder. To balance this out, we've reduced the cooldown on misses so Xenomorph can keep pressure up. We've also found that turret impact can be inconsistent, providing huge value at high skill level and being very ineffective at lower levels. I mean, I guess. I'm just also terrible at the game, but you know. Rather than having turrets act as an immediate threat that dissipates quickly, heat buildup will remain for longer. Oh yeah, that's right. That was yeah. This should help give a little more value to smaller bursts of heat that are enough to knock Xenomorph out of crawler mode, or as weaker turret placements can still build up over time. To ensure the sustained heat isn't too punishing, we've balanced it with a higher heat threshold for Xenomorph. We also did a pass on Xenomorph's add-ons to buff some of its weaker, less used icons, used ones, while realigning some turret-based add-ons to fill the above changes. That's fair. Oh yeah, the good guy. So, I actually, I'll get to it after I read the changes, but I just want to say that I have a little side tangent about something I didn't realize was the good guy. So I'll get to that after I read the changes, though. Reduced hidey ho mode cooldown to 12 seconds was 14. Reduced time to reach max speed at the start of Slice and Dice and after Scamper. We know that the good guy's utility and mobility in chases has historically been one of his core draws. While recent changes have made him less aggressive at lower MMR ranks, we've made some adjustments to help get him back in the action quicker and improve movement feel, particularly accelerating quicker as you activate Slice and Dice and after the Scamper action to get you up to max speed. I just want to say their wording is kind of inconsistent with this one. The post that I saw on YouTube, their community post, acted like they were gonna make it take longer to reach max speed with Scamper and Slice and Dice. That was how I read it. Um, this is saying the opposite. So I don't really know what to believe right now. This one is saying that they're they're reducing the time it takes to reach the max speed, which is fair. The other one was acting like it would take a little bit longer to reach that max speed. So I don't really know which one to believe yet. I'm assuming I may have read one of them wrong. I don't know, but I'm a little conflicted. But the quick little side tangent is just that I had kind of completely forgotten that they like nerfed him. In fact, they what I felt was interesting was Orange actually likes playing Chucky because of that high mobility, high movement speed, and all that. Um, so it was interesting when we were talking about these changes earlier. Again, I was going off what the community post said, not this. Um, and he had mentioned to me that um, he isn't. He mentioned that he's not a big fan of the current Chucky because he's not as fast. He doesn't have that high mobility like he used to. So he just, you know, doesn't like how he feels now, and that's fair. But he definitely feels better as a survivor player, which I guess is what they were going for. So I just thought that it was interesting. Tear radius adjustments. Increase the hillbillies tear radius to 40 was 42. Increase the blights tear radius to 40 was 42. Decrease the pigs tear radius to 24. Decrease the Ghostface tear radius to 24. Decrease the Skull Merchant's tear radius to 24. Honestly, I kind of don't blame them for picking the numbers that they picked, because Pig and Ghostface having shorter tear radius makes sense to me. Also, Skull Merchant as well. Those three just kind of make sense to me. They have a shorter one. Whereas Billy and Blight, their powers, I don't know. It just makes sense to me that they would have a bigger one. We've adjusted several killer terriers to better fit with their intended playstyles. Killers with high mobility that can zip across the map at high speeds. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Have had their radius is increased to give survivors a greater chance to react to their approach. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, give the higher mobility ones the bigger tear radius since they can show up quicker. Whereas a stealthier, quieter killer like Michael or Ghostface or Pig or Skull Merchant, give them the smaller one so they can utilize their stealth better. That makes sense to me. We've also reduced the races for stealthy killers to better fit their playstyles. The Skull Merchant is a slight outlier here, I guess so. While she can gain undetectable by deploying a drone, we felt she could still benefit from added self support. That's fair. I mean, I've always kind of felt like she was a stealth killer a little bit. She's definitely a tracking killer, but I feel like it makes sense to her, and it gives her another kind of small little tool to work with, which is always good. New features, match surrender option. I just want to say, I saw some comments on a community post about this one, and the comments sounded so much better than how the original wording for this was. When I don't remember what it was that I read anymore, but when I read, I did a video on it about oh yeah, I remember that. It was about the changes that they said were coming with like the quality of life stuff. What they had put for this one sounded horrible. It sounded basically unusable as killer. So cuz the way they had worded it was killer could only do it if there was bots. That's how they worded it. Survivor, it was, only if there was slugging happening. But according to the community, those comments that I saw, it sounds like they actually like broadened it out, gave more uses, more ways to use this power. So Let's see here. If one of the following conditions is met, the surrender option will become available on the match details screen. When all remaining survivors are bots, the killer can surrender without a disconnection penalty. When no generator has been completed for 10 consecutive minutes, the killer can surrender without a disconnection penalty. Okay, so right off the bat, Okay, so I guess if everyone DCs, so like let's say you're playing, this reminds me of. This is gonna be a quick little citation. This reminds me of the top one, the one about the survivors. This reminds me of when they first added the PTB, where they added the disconnection bots, because I remember there was a commenter in the comment sections that I saw that was complaining about it because they have the exact different mentality than me and Orange do. Me and Orange would have loved to have just, fought bots. I mean, that's always nice. But he was always but this commenter was basically like, why does everyone disconnect when I play? I want to play against real people. I don't want to play against bots. I was like, you still got, probably. Anyways, this person played Skull Merchant, and at this time, Skull Merchant was the free gen queen, so no wonder everybody disconnected on him, because that was a horrible time to play. So happy they're changing her up. I'm really, really excited for her newest rework whenever we get more information on that, because I feel like this is a killer with a lot of potential. It's just the way they had her before was very much the free genning queen. Then they did eventually make her not work that way, but unfortunately, it kind of made her worse. So like she's in a difficult spot, but thankfully, because she's a original killer, they can actually like kind of work on her a bit better than the license options. So. But but they definitely would have been doing that surrender option, and it just kind of reminded me of that, because some players do have that mentality of, well, I want to actually play against other people. Which I'm not complaining about. I just personally would rather deal with a bot than a human player, because the human players, um, usually destroy the fuck out of me. So, also the one for the generators, I'm assuming there's actually a match so like a number of months ago. The last time me and Orange hung out in person, um I let him play. I asked him to play DVD for me on my account, for just to help me out with some challenges. He had agreed. The first match that we got, he was trying out a strategy that has been making the game actually tolerable and fun for him, where you basically only go for the challenge and then you are friendly unless the challenge like requires you to actually play like aggressively, and that's what he was trying to do, but we were stuck in like a stalemate because there was one survivor, he knew where they were, but he wanted them to be friendly. They weren't doing a gen or anything though. The other one was waiting for him to kill that one, so that way they could get the hatch and escape. So it was kind of a. So that was kind of frustrating, because we were trying to, because we wanted to play and we wanted to do stuff, but we just weren't allowed to, since He was trying to be friendly and give them the win, but like the survivors themselves weren't letting him. That's always frustrating because it's like I'm trying to give you, I'm trying to give you the escape. I'm trying to let you win because I'm trying to be friendly, and you're not taking it. That was really frustrating because he was, from what I remember, he was Orange was getting upset just because he wanted to do that for them, and he was kind of just getting irritated that they weren't accepting the offer. I was there. I was just, from what I remember, I was just getting bored. Like I understood where he was coming from, and I did agree with him, but I was also just like really, um, bored and exhausted. Like again, I had this whole plan set up where we were gonna finish a bunch of challenges. The surrender option would have been like really nice for a situation like that where the killer like loses somebody or whatever and the survivors just aren't doing gens. I think that part of the surrender option is going to be very nice if you can stick it out long enough. I don't like how it's 10 consecutive minutes. um I feel like they should shorten that because 10 consecutive minutes feels really long to me, because you would have to sit there like waiting for so long, and they might end up doing a gen in that time or something, and I guess that's their thinking. But it just feels a little like it just feels really like it just feels way too long to me, um personally. But I'm sure they'll take our suggestions on the PTP, but the idea sounds really nice. um But what else we got here? Because I didn't read all of it yet. When all other remaining survivors are boss, the survivor can surrender without disconnection penalty. I think that one's interesting. I don't fully get it, but I think it's interesting that um, if every other teammate becomes a bot, then the survivor can just last survivor can surrender, or if everyone is a bot, then the killer can. Um, and I'm willing to admit that maybe I'm just that I just don't that maybe I'm just not that I might just not be understanding kind of the thought process out. I guess some players just would rather play with other people, and maybe that was kind of their thinking. I just don't really understand, I guess, how useful it can be right now. If any of you have any suggestions on like how that one could be like pretty useful or something, I'd love to hear them. Just because to me right now, it doesn't sound all that useful. I mean, it sounds fine. Like it doesn't sound bad. It's just kind of a whatever change to me right now. But maybe I'm just not understanding, and that's perfectly fine because it does happen. I don't understand. I can only understand. I only can understand so well, even if I want to understand better. And then the last one is when all survivors are in the dying state, the survivor can surrender without destination penalty. I think that one's fair too because slugging is very hard, or slugging, like you just kind of can't do anything against it as survivor. Really, there's a little bit you can do, but not much. I think that's a very good change. It also unfortunately reminded me of a negative side tangent for myself where I had where I helped, where basically all of where um, the killer got a free K because of we were for one survivor to escape. Because I remember there was this survivor that like people, we had been trying to help, but then like the killer was like hooking them, and then I managed to get them up, and then the blight went after me. I ended up getting downed and died. They left, and then they gave me like a really negative. Well, at first they said sorry, and I said that it was fine, and then I just casually kind of mentioned that like I'm not great at the game still. I'm still kind of learning it. And then they just went, I know, and it really upset me. Anyway, sorry for the side tangent. But I think overall, really good ideas, and I think having the alternative option during slugging is nice because you just kind of lose anyways by default. You might as well just let them, do the option, have that option. We know it can be frustrating to find yourself in a scenario that's unwinnable when you would rather move on. Exactly, like, and me and Orange have felt that before, where we're just like, I'd rather just move on with my life than sit here. Like, during 2v8, we had a horrible, horrible match. This match was like so bad for us. If we could have had an option, I mean, they like kicked their asses so quickly that none of those would have been applicable. But it would have been nice to have had a disconnect, like a surrender option, just let them win quicker, so we could move on with our lives because it was so bad. As well as cover cases where the opposing side has been fully replaced by bots, we've added a mass surrender option. We're currently targeting the most disruptive cases, but we'll continue to monitor player behavior to identify if there are further opportunities for expanding on this option. And for all you plot twisters out there, we see you. This will not trigger the surrender option. Hell yeah. Thank God they see us plot twister users. That's a fun perk. I'm happy they did that. Forsaken Boneyard. Ooh. Expanded the Forsaken Boneyard realm was a shack-focused map. Ooh. Update the existing map tiles to improve navigation. Ooh. Oh yeah, I like that now. Yeah. Yeah. Orange is not the biggest fan of this particular map. He feels like it's a little too good for killers. Or survivors, I mean. He's not the biggest fan of it. He never has been, but this is nice. I'm happy they updated it. I always appreciate that. It's just always nice seeing a map get updated, you know? So I'm not complaining. I think this is dope. If I'm being honest. We're expanding the Forsaken Boneyard realm, and map pool was a new map layout with the Killer Shack at its center, featuring updated map tiles. Specifically, we've heard the feedback that Eerie of Crows can be difficult to navigate at times thanks to collisions with certain aesthetic elements. We've opted to remove the large bunches of branches from map tiles on this shack map, while also introducing double palette tiles that will help add some exciting new looping possibilities. Nice, I'm excited. Perk updates. So these are the survivor perks. Let's see what we got here. Hopefully some good stuff. Quick and quiet. Interesting because that perk isn't super used, but interesting. Decrease the cooldown to 25-20-15 seconds was 40-25 seconds. That's fair. It's really not a bad perk, honestly, and decreasing that cooldown by quite a bit is I feel like gonna really give a good incentive to use it again because it's really not that bad of a perk. It could be pretty useful for sure. Deception. Increase the time during which you leave no scratch marks for 5 seconds was free. Decrease the cooldown to 25-20-15 seconds was free. 25-20 seconds. That's fair too. Deception's not bad either, for sure. That's good. Dance with me. Increase the time during which you leave no scratch marks to 5 seconds was free. Decrease the cooldown 15 seconds was 25-20 seconds. So far, not bad. And red herring. I've used red herring like once, and it's thankfully it worked out for me because I used it kind of at the end. But yeah, be nice if they kind of updated that perk because it had some there was some painfulness to it. But what I remember about when I used red herring was the broken stats effect taking like forever. Because I think broken stats, like I forget if they changed this instead, but at that time it was 80 seconds. Yeah, I felt that in that moment. I felt that. That felt like it was taking forever. Decrease the minimum generator repair time needed to trigger this perk to 1 second was free. Decrease the cooldown to 25, 20, 15 seconds was 60, 54. That's right, it had such a bad one, especially when I used it. It had a really bad cooldown. I'm really happy they absolutely just ripped that cooldown timer apart. Like, it's so much faster now. It's so nice. I actually really appreciate that. While these perks specialize in misdirecting the killer, we found that their cooldown don't match their value. By reducing their cooldowns and increasing the duration of their effects, specifically Deception and Dance With Me, we hope to give these off-meta perks a better chance at value in Deception-based builds. And I feel like that's fair. Um, and I think that's I think that's really gonna help them out. I'm a little nervous for the killer perks here because there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, there's a lot of kind of whatever ones, and some of these perks that I'm seeing here are, you know, interesting. Like Knockout, the first one. Knockout is a Knockout is definitely a perk that is not fun to play against as Survivor. And I can understand why. The way the perk works is very specific and whatnot. And it just leads to some not funness. So let's see how they changed it. I'm excited to see how. When a Survivor drops a pallet, that's already like way different. If they move 6 meters away from it within 6 seconds, they gain 5% hindered for free 4 or 5 seconds. Honestly, the fact that, so basically Knockout got a complete rework thing, because before, the way Knockout worked was if you got like downed, like if you got downed, then you got like these really bad effects where like your screen was kind of all like, where like your visually like your screen was like different, because you know you had like status effects and stuff on you. So I remember the screen would always be darker for like a few seconds, and then you had like the hinders and stuff. Like, it was definitely a frustrating perk to deal with, but it was also kind of somewhat specific, just because could only trigger it when you were downing the survivor. But now it's like now it's completely reworked, which is interesting. Knockout is a perk that's associated with slugging, leading to some particularly unfun game styles. We're looking to make changes to the perk without, while keeping it useful for killers. And I think that's a fair way to do it. Just give them hindered troll 5%. Hindered for a few minutes and they drop a pallet. That's fair. Especially like if that I would imagine that'll work in chase. And I feel like in chase it's gonna be really useful, because a lot of players, a lot of survivor players like will drop the pallet and either keep running after dropping it, or they'll drop it and like try to slide into you and then keep running. So that's fair. On Instinct, increase the aura reveal duration to 8 seconds was 5. Increase the duration of Oblivious to 40, 56 seconds was 16, 18, 20. That's right. I forget how, like, not at all time-wise that was. So that's nice, because they really buffed Alien Instinct, which is huge. Alien Instinct got a nice buff. That's nice. Hysteria, increase the duration of Oblivion to 30, 35, 40 seconds was 30, 30, 30. So it actually lasts longer now, which is nice, instead of always being 30. Decrease the cooldown to 20 seconds was 30. Another nice thing right there. Death Bound. Shorten the range at which this perk activates to 12, 4 meters was 16, 12, 8. So I like to make quick rest. Alright. Um, Nemesis increased the aura build duration to 8 seconds with Soar. Similar to the above, we identified some killer perks that have also been underperforming, boasting lower pick and kill rates. We've adjusted their values to help increase their viability and more specialized perk builds. Until next end of the video. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent quality of life kind of update thing. There are some that I'm still questionable about. I definitely see the perks potentially getting touched again or like getting messed with because I feel like even if they're just increasing the timers with some of them, that still might not be enough, to make like people use them. Just depending on what the actual effect of the perk is. I think knockout getting that rework is huge because knockout like as they kind of is like a really unfun perk to deal with as survivor, and it's like heavily associated with slugging. um and I also feel like for people that don't have the adept for Bubba yet, I think that knockout change could actually like be useful a little bit more in that situation than before. um so I feel like overall that's good. I'm excited to see kind of where that rework ends up. The survivor perks didn't sound all that bad either. They just, reduced cooldowns and stuff. You know, it didn't sound all that bad either, and I'm definitely excited for those changes. The surrender option sounds really nice now. It sounds, decently usable. I feel like they picked pretty good caveats for it, so I have no issue there. And then of course you have I'm trying to remember some of the other stuff. Oh yeah, the Area Crow map, the Forsaken Boneyard getting like an expansion. I'm really excited to see what that is like. The surrender options I liked. I like the tear radius adjustments. Just adjusting some tear radius for a few killers. That's always good, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing that. That was nice, and I appreciated the killers that they chose because I like those killers. So I'm happy they got changes to kind of better suit how they play. I think that's great. The Chucky change, I'm still confused on which one it is. If they're making it take longer or making it quicker, I really don't know. I'm kind of confused now, but hopeful. But I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna trust this one. He'll reach it faster than he did the last time they touched him, and kind of like mess with that. And I think that's fine. I get that he's not doing so hot in the low MMR now because he's not as fast. So I think that's a nice like little compromise for the two kind of styles with MMR. The Xenomorph changes sounded really nice. I'm really excited to see what those are like because I personally kind of enjoyed them. I thought they were fine. I felt like they're um, good changes to have. The Legion changes, sounds really nice as well. I'm happy kind of how they touched Legion. Um, I'm really excited to see kind of how much that helps them or them, I guess. I think that's a fair change. So I'm excited for that. And then, of course, the mending actions. The mending actions I enjoyed as well because you can mend like yourself faster. The altruistic mending timer is faster. Like it's just mending is easier. But yeah, overall, I think on paper at least, because I don't have the actual PTB to look at yet, but on paper, I think this is actually going to be a really, this on paper, this sounds really nice. They, they touched up some areas that definitely needed it. They updated some perks, which is always fun. They got rid of a pretty annoying one, knockout, which is huge. Like, I think how they have knockout right now is not gonna be quite as like it'll still be I think right now it'll be in a spot where it's like less annoying, like you'll still notice the effects and stuff, but it should be like less annoying and just kind of what, you know, like a lot of perks I feel like are always there's a lot of perks where when me and Orange are playing like Survivor, we're always like, oh, okay, like obviously, yeah, that's an issue, and like we know what the effects are, but at the same time, we're kind of just like, yeah, okay, you know, that's fine. Like, and I think Knockout could be another one of those perks because before Knockout was one of the perks where we were more like, oh god, the Killer Pig had this perk, you know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, ring the bell, do all the algorithmic garbage. It helps us out a lot. It means a lot to us. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Oh. Oh.